It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, the 14th of November, 2019. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Oliver, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news translated into English. Up first tonight, it seems the debate has been settled. RTV now sits in the hot seat after presenting herself to the institution where she will be sworn in as the member of the Constitutional Court. Just 3 days after the parliamentary speaker, Gramos Rucci, declared that the first individual on the Justice Appointment Council's list is automatically elected, Vorpsi has submitted her notarized document to the President, the Assembly, and the Justice Appointment Council. I swear that I will always remain faithful to the Constitution while executing my duties, declared Vorpsi. Meanwhile, for the same vacancy, President Meta declared another name, that of Marcida Jafellari, but the president seems to be unshaken through a post on Facebook despite the move taken by Vorpsi. The President of the Republic of Albania, Ilir Meta, does not forbid anyone to swear in as notary or a hairdresser. The president has taken an oath with his hand on the Constitution and swears to put Albanians first. In reference to the presidential decree, newly elected Marcida Jafellari, in a reaction to RTV Ora News, preferred not to comment on the move taken by her colleague, emphasizing that her position requires complete distance from political debate. As for the Socialist Party, nothing can be left without a discussion. As of tomorrow at 10 a.m., they will convene in Parliament in a special session to discuss the president's decree on Jafellari. Sources for RTV Ora said the Socialist Party is expected to come up with a resolution, as in a case for the dismissal of the head of state. Now, RTV herself is refusing to comment on the situation, even though she was in the Constitutional Court earlier today. Next up, lawyer Miranda Gelmachi has rejected RTV oath in office, declaring that she has done her duty according to law by only verifying the signature. Such a statement cost Vorpsi 26,000 lek, and now she claims she is a member of the Constitutional Court. This is the fee that Vorpsi paid to notary Miranda Gelmachi to certify her oath as a member of the Constitutional Court. The notary stated to the media that Vorpsi was not sworn in by the Constitution, but only wrote down her signature on the document. Gelmachi said that she acted in accordance with the law and treated it as if it were any other citizen making a notarial statement. Meanwhile, Vorpsi has sent her statement, including the Justice Appointment Council's decision to appoint a member of the Constitutional Court, and has submitted the oath to the Presidency and Parliament. Prosecutor Olsian Cella is listed first on the Prosecutor General's list of candidates for the General Prosecutor. Cella scored 459 points, followed by Arta Marcu with 406 points and Fationa Memchai with 362 points. The list of candidates will be sent to the Assembly for a vote. In the event that no candidate receives 84 votes, then the Prosecutor General, who will automatically be elected, will be ranked first on the list. Just a day ago, the council interviewed the 3 candidates in separate sessions. They presented their platforms and addressed and answered the questions posed by members of the High Council of Prosecution. These questions related to various issues involving work management in the general prosecution. The candidates were also questioned by international representatives. Moving on now, the Tirana court has released Shkozen Sadikai, a resident of the New Ring Road who was recently arrested during the demolition of 33 illegal constructions in the Stir area, even though he was detained following a resistance by residents to police who, at 6 a.m. on Tuesday, besieged 2 sides of the road. The court decided to release Sadikai after reviewing his file. His detention is also being considered illegal by some. Meanwhile, 26 residents have been released from jail and are being investigated for their altercations with police. The actions ended within 12 hours and is expected to continue into a second phase. Moreover, the Tirana prosecution ended their investigation on Clevis Baliu and acquitted the former Democratic Party MP on charges of assault. After his acquittal, Baliu appeared to support Astiri residents in the Tirana court and accused Prime Minister and police of violence against citizens. As a result of clashes, 13 people remain injured, 5 of which were police officers and the rest being residents. Well, it seems that clashes between the ministries and majority MPs are continuing to break out over their positions on the lack of investments in infrastructure. Arben Ametai has since listed ongoing projects but points out that infrastructure is not being financed, thus making the work difficult. He stated, Milat Baldren is not funded for the upcoming year. Orakum is being funded by 300 million lek. Tepelena's bypass will also receive 300 million. Physical processes are being delayed due to the inability of funding. Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance has accepted the change in the payment deadlines. The bypass through Fier, although it ends in 2021, remains a functional area and does not have any ancillary effects. In this regard, it bolsters any opportunity for additional tourism. As for the bypass of Vlora, Chukis, Shkodra, and Tepelena, the roads are in the process of being constructed and do not end within the year we're talking about, said Minister Denai. Minister Denai does insist, however, that the responsible institution must be held accountable. Next up, amid the institutional clashes between the presidency and government over members in the Constitutional Court, the leader of the Democratic Party is calling the current situation a coup d'etat perpetrated by the majority in government. Out of Saranda, Luzin Basha shared his concerns that the Prime Minister intends on apprehending the Constitutional Court through engagements and maneuvers that citizens would simply not be able to comprehend. The Democratic Party Secretary General Gazman Bardi also reacted to RTV oath to notary, a move that, according to him, turns the country into a dictatorship. As for the Prime Minister, he says Rama is appealing to a Nazi principle, that is, whatever is good for Hitler, and in this case referring to Rama, is illegal. The oath to the notary of the self-proclaimed candidate as a member of the Constitutional Court leads Albania into the darkest of times under communist dictatorship, when everything and everyone is dependent on the will of the party and not the rule of law. The candidate used by Edi Rama proves that she can neither legally nor morally be guaranteed by the Constitution. To be honest, I know RTV, and in my professional opinion, there is no such knowledge of the Constitution even there. Therefore, anyone who has forced such an action has simply harmed public opinion while labeling Artamarku as a soldier of this power against the rule of law, said Bardi. Currently, there are two candidates for a seat on the Constitutional Court, RTV and the President's decree, Marcela Jaffelari. The inclusion of farmers in the insurance scheme was one of the main commitments during Edi Rama's first mandate. It even led to a decrease in the unemployment number. But now the scheme is facing difficulties as budget revenues fall. After the alarm bells were sounded over the government's failure to pay back institutions 110 million euros, self-insurances are posing additional concerns for the chairman of the Economic Committee. Even Minister Anila Denai admits to the lowering of revenue. The initiative for the reevaluation of assets was formalized in the Economic Committee. The new debate to be dealt with in the international markets is projected to sit at around 62 billion lek now. It seems that the Economics Committee will once again be involved in discussions on the non-realization of revenue for this year. And finally tonight, Kukis was the next stop of a round of discussions for the group being called For the Albanians, the Sun Rises in the West. This group, which is organized and composed of intellectuals, stands opposed to the so-called mini Shingen of the Balkans. The project was announced by Prime Minister Edi Rama and his two Balkan counterparts, Macedonian Prime Minister Zoran Zaev and Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić. But despite the mutual cooperation between these leaders, the project is sparking heated reactions. This is because, and this is evident at the meeting in Kukis, where intellectuals and activists from Kosovo expressed the common view that Albania must remain oriented towards the West. These activists urged the withdrawal of Albania and praised their country's position on the initiative, depicting the idea of this trilateral cooperation as an attempt to carve out a new Yugoslavia. After Kukis meetings are set to continue, there will also be held in Kosovo and Northern Macedonia. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you so much for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.